6 different builds for 6 different ways you can drown out your loneliness on this culturally manufactured day of chocolate sales and overpriced sappy gift cards. These builds are designed primarily for PvP, but will still give you a heck of a time in PvE too. My name is Archibald, having to take the role of host for my poor sap Reginald, and I believe this is the part where he would say, "Welcome to Stupid Builds, where I will show you some stupid builds." Some of these builds are our own creation, some are from our live stream chat, but all of them are stupid because of how strong they secretly are. Is your favorite song the sounds of fire and brimstone tearing through alien and guardian flesh? Do you want to get as close as you can to being the Doomslayer in Destiny? Do you like healing after literally every kill? Then stop what you're doing, grab the Tarabah and the precious scars and a deluxe box of crayons with a side of Mountain Dew, because we have some ripping and tearing to do! Tarabah is the SMG embodiment of too angry to die, which is why I resonate with it on a spiritual level. In case you still don't have this weapon or are debating pulling it from the exotic kiosk 4 years late, the Tarabah is a solar SMG that slowly builds a meter called Ravenous Beast whenever you deal, or to a lesser extent receive, damage. Once this bar is full, you can unleash hell on earth by simply pressing your alternate fire button and pinning down the trigger like an overzealous graffiti artist. Tarabah's Pissed Off mode grants increased fire rate, damage, and precision damage on all hits. Basically, the weapon becomes an overpressurized bottle of fuck everything in this general direction. And I love it. Even heavy weapons don't want to find the intersection between the line of fuck around and find out with this beast primed. In fact, the only thing stopping this weapon from overrunning everything is the fleshy mortal meat sack that has the divine privilege of wielding it. So let's fix that. Precious Scars now grants all energy weapon kills matching your subclass a free shot of restoration. This theoretically can work with all subclasses, but only a real dumbass would take this away from using it on Solar, where the restoration synergies overflow like 20% off G Fuel bottles using code TDT under Niagara Falls. A smooth plug, Keep your war crimes flowing on your Titan by using a healing grenade and shoulder charge with the aspects Sol Invictus and Consecration. Try this with the fragments Tempering, Benevolence, Solace, and Torches. Then grant yourself some long-range options by using a sniper. For armor, focus on reloaders and unflinching mods. Unless you are in PvE, then go for resistance mods. Bonus points if you have the brain cells enough to use all the solar artifact mods for bonus Radiance and Scorch. 31 cautery pens out of 1 pre-order of Helldivers 2. At this point, Reginald usually tries to coerce you to subscribe through some conniving or manipulative means. But I am not Reginald. I will ask you to subscribe purely because war criminals need to stick together. And also because I have a rocket launcher in your address. The concept of dual wielding in Destiny makes me excited in ways I wouldn't like to explain. However, Bungie has continued to deny my appeals to add it into the game, despite my repeated blackmail. So instead we have to settle with simulating the experience with my Mechaniers trick sleeves. Mechaniers got a rework to make it more adaptable for multiple targets. Personally, I preferred its more spicy yet short-lived iteration, but I am sure the PvE players are more happy with this change. No matter what version, giving the Forerunner a damage boost effectively for free is illegal in all 50 states. Except for Texas, of course. To really get that dual-wield experience, our secondary is the recently updated best friend of Sturm, Drang. Our Drang has Swashbuckler and Wellspring, but we all know the real reason this weapon is a staple in the meta is that its stats are difficult to compete with. Forerunner for long range, Drang for close range, and whatever we feel like violating the time to kill of our enemies with in medium range. The trick sleeves offer us such fluidity and speed between these two weapons, they feel like we are holding one in each hand as we are blinking around the map and tapping foreheads like a jazz drum solo made out of 9mm Freedom pellets. To further this feeling of speed, this is wrapped up in a package of Arc Hunter with lethal current and flow state, with the fragments Haste, Recharge, Magnitude, and Feedback. We are mostly using this for the blink simply because the downsides of weapon handling are effectively zeroed out. Additionally, this gives us some options at the point-blank ranges because we can throw fists with anything like a rock'em sock'em robot on Kedemi. Still no replacement for true dual-wield, but a good way to scratch the itch. 2 guns akimbo Daniel Radcliffe's out of 2 eraser Arnold Schwarzenegger's. Bows are the fastest way to piss the people off who take Destiny PvP too seriously, which is why we love them. Particularly, the most elusive bow-spawned therapy sessions comes from being able to one-shot with something like Swashbuckler ×5 on a precision frame. Typically, the task is difficult to pull off, but this build creator from our livestream had the downright vile idea of setting the swash bow up with cryosthesia. And you already know where this is heading. Get a kill with the cryos, freeze, walk up slowly, and down smash. Once completed, assuming you are holding the bow during the icy execution, your swashbuckler perk will jump up to 5 stacks and you can go to town. Despite the promised ease of access from the freeze of access, I'm so sorry, please don't put me back in the box. I still found actually getting this chain of Robin Hood flavored death to be somewhat challenging, especially on Warlock. The Stasis Warlock lacks the burst mobility needed to truly take advantage of the freeze, and will often result in your vastly overcommitting yourself to the gimmick and finding yourself on the respawn screen along with the newly spite-fueled enemy player. The build creator also had us run this with Eye of Another World and the Stasis turret, which seems like a Shakespearean tragedy, being the cold snap abuse with the Osiomancy gloves for even more shatter melee potentials were right there. I think this goes to show how a build can have both monumental mountains and deep valleys if you aren't careful about your build design. Anyways, if you want to try and irritate your opponents with the Faustian bargain of bow one-shots, then give this a go. Otherwise, leave a comment below as to how you would improve on such a build. 13 frozen evergreens out of 10 Katniss Everdeen's. Speaking of bows, the Strand Bow Vengeful Whisper feels like one of the smoothest and most consistent bows in the game. My roll came with the Explosive Head and Precision Instrument perk. I was disappointed to find the Precision Instrument perk doesn't stack faster from the double damage, but the faster draw time, good handling, strand flavoring, and high accuracy makes this foe hard to put down. The build was paired with a glaive. Yes, a glaive. We were getting medieval in the lobby and it felt great! Bow shot to swap to the glaive shot for a quick 1-2 cleanup granted us a respectable time to kill along with a slowly building blast of Guardian deletion from our edge of concurrence. While glaives in large may still need some love, this glaive feels like an uncontested champion. Boasting a faster time to kill, handling, and an exotic perk that one-shots even fully health supers. If you haven't taken the time to chase this glaive, you might need to. The build overall was fluid and devastating as we used our grapple grenade to launch ourselves into the enemy base of operations, which we then proceeded to snap any person's neck that tried to oppose us. Our dart melee gives us some wiggle room for our bow for a headshot combo that yielded a tangle as a reward. For our exotic armor, we ran the Oath Keepers. This made our already damage-consistent bow into an even stronger killing machine. Pair this setup with a strand dive for a close-quarter option of aggression, and you have a tremendously enjoyable build that takes advantage of your movement skills with flexibility for damn near any fight. For aspects, use Ascent, Generation, Transmutation, and Warding. 12 Genghis Khans out of 9 Lubus. In case you've been living under a rock all this time, 450 autos are in vogue right now. But today we aren't running the Amet, oh no, we are using the Centrifuge. Centrifuge was perfectly designed to be a run-and-gun dueling machine, and we plan on taking absolute advantage of that. Sprinting, sliding, and shooting builds Centrifuge's overcharge capacitor, which will reload your weapon slowly, give it a bump in range, and cause explosions on maximum charge. The word versatile would be underselling this weapon. This weapon is more like the main character when used correctly. The only major weakness of our arc auto would be close quarter spaces, and for that we brought some icy buckshot with our Fractithist. This thing! This gun right here! I can't say this word with the accent. With quick draw and harmony. This is where Reginald would say something like, "Oh dear, would you look at that? Arc and stasis! I wonder what we could use to tie these things together with." And yes, of course, we never stop at just war demeanors, we want war crimes! Mask of Bacchus grants both damage to stasis and arc weapons after dodging. This damage buff is small, but mighty enough to make our already lethally consistent weapons into damn near guaranteed kills, and anything we wish malice upon. Running this also grants us the tools to dislocate the shoulders of any PC players and snap the controllers of any console players in close quarters, and simply gives us a get-out-of-jail-free card. We wrap this build up with a cold snap grenade and shatter dive combo and the touch of winter, because screw those guys, right? This build has lived rent-free in my head for the last few days. I am a sucker for versatile aggressive builds with a high degree of synergy and flavor. Bonus points to the creator for even coming up with an awful, and by awful I mean perfect name for this build too, Shock and Thaw. If that doesn't sell you on this, you should probably seek professional help. 7 Jurassic Park freezers out of 6 Home Alone zap traps. Our last build is more like an honorable mention, not because it's bad, far from it, but rather because the basis of this build was already used and discussed by other YouTubers and ourselves in previous videos. This iteration, however, takes that iteration and somehow found a way to make it even more extra than before. The basis is Cryoclasm on Stasis Titan with the Peacekeepers, but this time around, we are running with both the Mida Multi-Tool and the Mida Mini-Tool. The Mida combo has always felt very average, as double primary is just a tad underwhelming for most setups. However, the unmatched speed of this Titan, I truly believe, gives us the fastest ground movement speed in the game. Of course, something like Grapple or a Supra will be faster than Sprint, but what about every other fight? Hardly. Acceleration is the name of the game, and with Checkmate slowly becoming more mainstream, having speed such as this and relying purely on primary ammo weaponry might soon become a problem. Make it messy for the Sandbox team while you can. Subscribe, bless your faces, and deuces.